Welcome to our next episode of Spilling the Tea in Studio D, except we're without our D, Darren, because he's sick, or he says he's sick. I don't know. Sandra, do you think he's really sick?
No, he is really sick.
Well, if I hadn't talked to him on the phone yesterday, I would have thought that he did this on purpose because he's been trying to get me to do this. And I'm like, no, I agreed to be the sidekick. I didn't agree to be the host. So, and it's probably payback because a couple of weeks ago, he had to do the podcast without me because I had something come up and couldn't be here. So he's probably like, it's your turn. And plus he's just making me do it. So we'll see how it goes. But what he doesn't know is that I went and snuck a guest co-host. And so Sandra Ankton over there is going to be my guest co-host if he ever does this to us again. So we're partners in crime, right, Sandra?
We are.
Okay, all right. So we're really excited today. We have Jaycee Bearden, and she is a teacher at Centerpoint, and she also is the daughter of one of our specialists. We might get some tea on her here in a little bit. She's like, I can't say nothing. But we're glad to have you today, Jaycee. We're going to struggle through this. You know, I'm not the radio DJ professional, so we'll
Neither
see.
am I.
Yeah. So we will see how this goes. So, but just to kind of get us started, why don't you talk to both of us a little bit about how you got into education and just what led you to that path, and just tell us a little bit about your background and things like that.
Okay, so I went to college at Henderson, and I began as a biology major.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy enough. Got into nursing school, decided I wasn't doing that. Got into dental hygiene school, decided I wasn't doing that. So I graduated and had no idea what I was doing. But over those 4 years, I had really thought about becoming a teacher, but my lovely mother begged me not to do it.
Shame on you, Gayanne.
Begged me not to go into education. And I finally was to a point where I was like, I'm not listening to you. I'm going to do what I feel like I want to do. But even though she's the one that begged me not to do it, she's the reason that I did it.
Oh.
Watching her in the classroom for years and years, and the relationships she got to build. I remember being a little girl and walking through El Dorado, like going to stores and stuff, and hearing people that had been her kids years ago when she was even at a different school, and they would yell at her and want to show her pictures of their babies or what they were doing, and it was so cool. And there are kids that she changed their lives, and I think there are people out there that would tell you that. So anyways, I just wanted to have that connection and that kind of be part of something bigger than myself, the way she was.
And like your shirt says, difference maker. I mean, that's awesome. I think a lot of times, some educators kind of maybe try to gear their kids to different pathways just because some of the difficulties that they've had, but they would probably go back and tell you, hey, it's been worth it because of the difference that we've made in kids. And it is so rewarding when you can make the difference in the life of a kid. There's just nothing to really kind of explain that, But so I'm glad you got into education. And Gayanne, I know, I never saw her taught, but I know she's a fantastic specialist. So I know she's a phenomenal teacher. So that's pretty cool. Sandra and I are both Henderson grads.
We are.
All readies at the table.
Yes.
So, but anyway, so what year and what grade do you teach?
Yes.
I am a second-year teacher, and I teach 5th grade. They are crazy sometimes. Especially this week, it was Red Ribbon Week, so we all got to dress up.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And I actually teach ELA, which is what Mom taught.
Aww.
But I'm at 5th grade, so I have the littler ones.
And they're sweet. I mean, they are really sweet.
They still they want you to love them, and they still want to make you happy, so make
That's
it
awesome.
easier.
Yeah.
It's before they hit that major hormonal stage, Okay, so if you're a novice, so you're still kind of in our novice program, which, I know you probably love Tina Hobbs.
I do.
Yeah, she's fantastic and brings in, she does a great job and gives lots of resources and guidance to our novice. But talk to us a little bit about when you came in, because you came in then as a brand new teacher in the middle of the pandemic.
Right.
So talk to us a little bit about that and what you experienced.
So that was hard. When I came into Centerpoint, they were offering the online, but they did it kind of through Dawson. They did the program through Dawson, but they still required us to do 90% of our things through Google Classroom. Even though I went to college and I did use Google Classroom occasionally, I'd never done it from the teacher side.
Right.
That was such a learning curve, and it was so hard. And I guess I never realized how much of ELA was direct instruction rather than let me do a few examples on the board and give you the instruction and then give you a worksheet. ELA is so much more just direct and
hands-on.
Yes. It was so hard to figure out a way to put it online and to put it online where the kids could still get the instruction they needed to get. And I think that was my biggest struggle through the pandemic. The masks were not fun. But that didn't, I don't teach phonics necessarily, so that didn't bother me in that aspect, but it was hard. It was really hard. It was a major learning curve on top of the normal.
Right. Has this year been a little bit, because I mean, you didn't even come into normal. You came into just
right. I would say this
crazy.
Year is probably closer to what you could expect of normal. We're not required to use Google Classroom this year if we don't want to, and I don't.
Right.
I have it up in case.
If you have kids absent,
Right.
I could see where you, that
it's
would
needed.
benefit.
But our actual curriculum is online as well this year, so that helps too. So they have access to that at home if they need to do whatever reading we're doing. But I think this year it's going good. We've got a lot of good things going on, and the kids are kind of back in the groove of normal. Yeah, the kids. Oh, last year, like we still couldn't share supplies last year, so every kid had to carry 10 gazillion things in their backpack and water bottles. You know, you had to turn the water fountains off and water bottles, which they still have water bottles, and metal water bottles are the worst thing because when they fall off, yes.
Yeah.
Anyways, but the kids are really enjoying being back to normal too. I think just being able to not have to worry about masks or like I have supply buckets, and it's just a lot easier.
We had somebody mention masks, and that it was just so awesome to be able to see the kids smile, and it was so different. I mean, did you kind of experience that, you know, whenever you guys got rid of the mask?
So I have an advantage this year. Actually, the kiddos I have this year, I had last year. Because last year I taught 5th and 4th grade. And this year I just teach 5th. So it has been really neat to see those kiddos a second year and to just see how they're completely, for one, over summer, how much they changed over summer.
Right.
But then without the mask and without all the crazy restrictions. And so that's been neat to kind of see their personalities even more so than I saw them the first year because of COVID.
Yeah, that's awesome. So just being in it for a couple of years, what is one of your, I guess, favorite things about teaching?
Ooh. Okay. There's a lot
She's
of
probably
good.
got a list.
There's a lot of good,
If you had to pick one.
So actually, I think my favorite thing so far has been this year. I have our school redid kind of the structure of our classes this year. And so last year I was 5th and 4th, and that was the kids had 6 different teachers. We were departmentalized, and so they switched 6 times. Well, this year they only switched 3. And my 2 co-teachers that teach, one teaches social studies and science and one teaches math. We have got to plan some really cool activities together this year. And last year we couldn't do that because of how many teachers it was and how many classes it was. And so to get to experience that this year, and we're doing all kinds of fun STEM activities. Like we have one Halloween. They're going to catapult candy corn pumpkins, and we're going to do all kinds of fun stuff with it. And they get to be engineers, and
that's awesome.
That's been like a blast to plan, and they're excited to do.
Anytime you can make it pretty fun.
Yeah.
You know, that they love that kind of stuff.
They do.
So I guess thinking back on just even throughout school for you, whether it's elementary, high school, college, now, who is someone that's impacted you in education?
There's a couple, besides my mom. There's a couple.
I'm like, you better say your mom or you're going to be in trouble.
I will get in trouble. She warned me about that.
Hey, and honestly, it's like, bonus that you have a built-in,
Yes.
literacy
Yeah.
specialist
Oh, my
just right
goodness.
there with you.
That has been the biggest blessing. So I originally really wanted to teach math.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was at Centerpoint, at that point I had not passed my praxis, my content praxis. And so I hadn't taken it either. And they were like, well, what are you doing? And I was like, wherever you can fit me in.
Yeah.
Because I was MAT student, and that can tend to be harder to find a spot sometimes. And so when they said ELA, I was like, all right, let's go for it. And we did, and I love it now. I love how it's so abstract. It's kind of whatever your thinking is. Math and science are pretty concrete.
Yeah, I bet you guys when y'all get together, you talk shop and bounce ideas off your mom and
My goodness.
everything.
I'm sure she gets tired of me talking about school. I just about every day, because I have that 45-minute drive home. Just about every afternoon, I call her and I tell her about something or talk about something, get an idea, something.
That's awesome. Okay, sorry. So
It's
go
okay.
back to your. who
So
inspired
there's a
you.
couple people, elementary wise, and this is silly. My kindergarten teacher, I still have contact with her today. She still checks in on Parker. Her name was Miss West. She's a Scott now, but she was the most amazing. If I could have her heart,
Yeah.
I wish but I think all kindergarten teachers have.
Oh yeah.
this. They have superpowers.
Yep.
That I do not have.
Yeah. Same.
And then upper level would be Miss Cynthia Rocket. She, I don't think she's teaching anymore, but she moved to. Is she still teaching?
Where was she teaching?
She was at Magnet Cove.
Yeah,
and then
I
she
don't know.
moved-
She's at Magnet.
She's
now,
not.
but-
She moved to Benton Harmony Grove.
Okay.
I don't know. But funny story about her. She was the first person that ever gave me a B,
Aw.
and I cried. I was in the 10th grade or 11th grade when I had her. First time to ever get a B, and I cried, and I cried, and of course my mama was mad. She marched up to that school, and she wanted to know why I had a B. And Miss Rocket, she had it all there. She knew why, and she could. But her response was, "You can do better than what you're giving me." And so from that point on,
Yeah.
I did do better, and I grew as a student and as a
Right.
learner. And because of her, I think that's one reason I am successful at teaching English, because she taught me some really awesome things, but she also pushed me, and that
That's
drive
awesome.
she gave me is something that I want to give
That's
kiddos.
awesome. Sandra,
Sometimes
what about
it
you?
takes that. Sometimes
Yeah.
it does take that.
What about you, Miss Ankton? Who inspired you?
Several. My kindergarten teacher, she works here in Arkadelphia, and she has taught my niece and nephew. So it's like
Oh,
yeah,
that's
she
awesome.
really made an impact on my life. And Miss Hannah, she is retired now. She was my accounting teacher. Love her.
Wow.
And so that's why I do taxes. So I love it.
Yeah, she's a numbers person. Sandra is. I'm a former math teacher.
I
Darren
know.
makes fun of me all the time. I don't care though. It's all
If
right.
you ever have a math question, call Miss Candace.
I hope I don't. I mean, I could probably teach some math, like,
Yeah.
up to 5th grade, maybe 6th grade. But
Yeah.
beyond that, I hope I never have to ask a question.
Okay, so let's say that we have new teachers watching, first year teacher or interns in college or whatever. What is some advice
Yes.
that you would give?
Use your resources.
Hey,
Tina Hobbs, and most of those are probably in contact or will be in contact with her. She, especially my last year, I was like 9 weeks in maybe, and I called her and I was like, Tina, I feel like I am just failing. I am not doing good, And she was like, I'll be over there tomorrow. We'll talk about it. And
That's
she
awesome.
came over, and she came during my prep, and we talked about it, and then she observed, and she was like, none of the things you said are happening. It's all in your head. You're doing fantastic.
Yeah.
And then she gave me, some pointers, and she's just been
you just needed that confidence.
right. And she's always there. I've been working on getting some scholarships for grad school, and she's been able to give me that information. She's helped me find some PDs that would work for me. But definitely use your resources in every aspect. You have your specialists. That's one thing. So this year I got the opportunity to be our lead teacher.
Awesome.
For 5th grade and for ELA, and we have a couple new teachers on both of those teams. And I'm always like, use your resources. You have specialists at Dawson. They are more than willing to come help you. That's kind of that's their job. So
Yeah.
call them. when you need
and
them.
and it's sometimes that you just don't know because you're, in that position and you're just trying to survive and you don't know what's out there to help. And so definitely, a plug for the co-op because we have so many great people here
Yes.
that will help and provide resources. So I remember whenever I first started teaching, I went back to my hometown and I had just turned 22 and I was teaching high school students at Malvern. And I know that I leaned so much on the teachers that were my teachers.
Yeah.
And they helped me such a great deal. Because if I was having an issue, I could run it by them and just giving that encouragement. So that's super important to have somebody just kind of building you up because
Right.
it is scary at first. And you're like, what in the world am I doing this right? And then Sandra, now your nephew, he wants to teach also, right?
He does.
Mm-hmm.
He loves the kids. He's a bus driver.
Mm-hmm.
And he always tells us the stories about, all the kids on the bus and how he rewards them for being good.
That's awesome.
And he used to pick a student a month and give them, some type of either a shirt or just something that they would like.
Right.
And so he said they would be like, Mr. Michael, you haven't chosen anybody this week. He goes, I'm going to.
Oh,
And he would make them a certificate and give them, they loved it.
that is awesome.
I had a lady stop me at the store and go, your nephew is awesome on that bus because my kids love riding the bus. She said before that they did not want to ride the bus. She said, but they honestly like it. So
He's building those relationships, which
yes.
is a huge, that's just a huge piece of it, is if you don't, it's like, I always used to say, and still do, kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So, and they
right.
really, really want someone to believe in them and believe that they can do it or can behave or can, I bet his bus route's great. I'm sure I'm sure you have issues occasionally.
Of
but,
course,
but,
always.
But that just speaks volumes, I feel like people are just meant to do that.
When they noticed that he was looking and trying to choose a person, they would straighten up, sit straight, act better. He was like, all I have to do is tell them, I'm going to pick that student this month, and they'll go, oh yeah.
Yeah, we got to
But
be
he
good.
said he would pick someone that was really quiet, wouldn't say anything, and he chose a young girl, and she would never say anything. Her mom came back to him one day and said, "Thank you for choosing her." She said she is so excited,
Oh.
that she was chosen, and she said I've seen her blossom since then. Like,
Yeah,
so it takes
someone.
one person to
Yep.
Right.
make a difference,
You are so right. You're so right.
and I'm pretty sure you make a difference in a lot of your students.
I had somebody tell me one time, going off that, picking the quiet kid, to make a list of your kids off the top of your head. And those kids that came last are the ones
Yes,
that don't come in your head right away. So
Right.
they're the ones that don't ever have
Right.
behavior problems,
Yep.
but they don't stand out.
right.
Make an effort to build that relationship with those kiddos. And I try to, I'm not as good at doing it as I was at the beginning of the year. I kind of slacked. But as I see, which Centerpoint has all kinds of great incentives. We have Mighty Nights, and that's about your, we go over the whole thing at the beginning of the year. It's kindness, nobility, integrity, growth, honor, and tenacity. And so all kinds of stuff like that. But for myself, I like to, when I see a student doing something good that maybe it's a student that doesn't usually stand out,
Right.
Yeah.
I just take a sticky note and I write them a note that's handwritten from me, and I just go pop it on their desk.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I have seen so many, and it makes my heart just explode. They stick them in the front of their binders,
Uh-huh.
and most of the times they'll take them home, but then they'll put them back in their binder. They want to see that
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
day. They know that even if they didn't have a good day the next day, there was a time that I was proud of them,
Yeah.
and that goes so far.
Right. We as adults like affirmations, and kids like affirmations too, But I think that's awesome. And I had attended a training, oh gosh, I guess it may have been last summer, and the speaker said that he kept a clipboard, and then for each class period he had a list of the names, and he would make a point to speak to the kids personally, how was the band concert last night, or what video game. He tried to get to know them on a different level, and then he would check when he would speak to them, And what he noticed is he could figure out who he had not been talking to, and then he would make a point the next day, okay, I need to talk to these students. And that was intentional, which I think is so important, to be intentional, because if not, you just get wrapped up in everything and you're talking to who's talking to you when you're coming in, and you don't, like you said, you don't see some of those students. So it's anything that helps you be intentional
Right.
is good. So anyway, so have you had anything crazy happen? You know, I know as a former middle school principal, I had a kid that threw his shoe in the pine tree. You know, and you were at Magnet for a while, so you know where I'm talking about, going up the hill. And we're talking ladder wasn't going to get it, so we had to go get things to throw in the tree that was heavy enough to knock the shoe out of the tree. And I'm sure that all the high school students were probably looking out the window watching the principal and the student. And I'm like trying, I mean, I ended up laughing. I'm like, look, if you ever do this again, I mean, like the kid was laughing, I was laughing, and I'm like, it was crazy. But I'm like, middle school.
Yeah.
So have you had any crazy stuff go on?
I'm sure I have. I mean, they're crazy every day.
Yeah.
Like I said, last week was dress up week, and I'm crazy kids. I don't even know where they come up with half the things they do or they say.
I know.
I'm just like, if your mama knew that you acted like that
Yeah.
today. Here's a good one. Okay, Wednesday was character day, and I had a little girl come in dressed up as, what is her name? Off 101 Dalmatians. What's the name?
Corella?
Yeah.
She came in as Corella. And I'm talking about, well, she's not in my homeroom, but her homeroom's right across the hallway. Walking down, as serious as she can be, she looks at me, she goes, Miss Bearden, you better hide your dogs. And I looked at her.
She was in character.
She was 100% in character.
That's awesome.
And it made my day. I ended up telling her mom, I was like, listen to what she did today. And we
That's
laughed
awesome.
and laughed and laughed.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Dress up day, and then Halloween we were talking about. We had a couple of schools that were out. They're out Monday for Halloween, and I was like, lucky you, because
I
it gets
know.
crazy.
Our kiddos are getting to dress up, and, you know,
Yeah,
can't
which makes it
bring-
fun.
Yes.
You know.
And that's one reason why we're doing something fun on Monday.
Yeah.
Because I know
Yeah.
they're not going to sit in their chairs
Yeah.
and do what they're supposed to do on Monday. So you might as well
Yeah.
embrace the energy
Yeah, and then
and go on with it.
I would always go out when we were loading buses, and I would just apologize to all the bus drivers. I'm like, I'm so sorry, because the Christmas and Halloween, and they're like, we are going to repay all of y'all because of all the sugar that they have.
Yes. These last 3 months of the year, every year I feel like
Yeah.
we're just crazy.
That's awesome. So, you know, sometimes during the podcast, we ask some random questions, and she's like, great, here we go. So, one that Darren asks all the time is what's on your playlist?
Oh. Okay. I don't know. I could throw back to the 1970s probably with some of my stuff. Okay, so here's a fun story about my mom.
Oh, yes. I knew we were going to get some tea. I knew we would get some tea.
I guess it's more so about me. But Gladys Knight's song, Midnight Train to Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Since I was a little, she used to play that song when I was a little girl, and I called it the Choo Choo song. She's got the train. So you could go way back with some Gladys Knight. My current favorite song is Build a Boat by Colton Dixon. I have to turn that up every morning on the way to work.
Yeah.
I'm a big podcast listener. So
Oh, wow.
I know, it's kind of like a bucket list, I guess.
Hey.
After today, you can listen to your own podcast.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I want to hear myself talk.
I never listen. I never watch this back.
My favorite podcast right now is Big Life Devotional by Pamela Cram. It's awesome. They're 20-minute songs. It's a perfect little stretch on the way to school.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, my playlist it's pretty mixed.
Yeah.
You could find just about every genre.
I
And
know, mine
probably
too.
Quite a few.
What about you, Sandra? Same.
I love an upbeat song
Me too.
to get you pumping in the morning.
Yep.
A wide range of songs, though.
Oh yeah.
Not one that sticks out, but if it has a good beat to it, I like it.
I know. I love It's a Good Morning, you know.
Oh, that's a
Mendix
great
and
one.
Toby Mac, and
That's a great one.
of course then I had I flip stations in the morning because I really like music. Sometimes I'll stop and listen to talk occasionally, but I'm like, I had Def Leppard this morning, and then I had like, Post Malone, and I mean, like I'm flipping through everything. So I just, I love it all. But like I'm like Sandra with a beat. Yeah.
I pretty much stick to Christian or country for the most part. Every once in a while, I need me a good little,
some hip hop.
Yeah.
Yep. So Sandra, you got a random question for her that you can think of? You want to put her on the spot on something? She's like, let me think.
Let me think about it.
What about food? What's your favorite food?
There you go.
Ooh. I don't know. It depends on my mood.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
What's something you could eat if you had to eat something every single day? What's something you could eat every day? Mine would be tacos, probably. I could eat tacos every day.
I don't know. I'm a big pizza fan, but it has to be like good pizza.
Yeah.
Like Rocky's Pizza in Hot Springs. That I could do every day. My husband makes the best steaks, and my mom would agree. I could eat a steak all the time. But he could too. He's always like, "You want a steak today?" And I'm like, "We just had one Saturday, but I guess."
Sure. Hey, if he's gonna cook, I mean, don't argue.
Yeah.
I mean, just let him cook it.
Yeah.
What's your
Anyway,
favorite candy? You gotta have a favorite candy.
Ooh, chocolate or light candy?
Yes.
Chocolate. Okay, so Snickers has been like my favorite for a long time, but here recently, my paraprofessional at school, she's pregnant, and her new kick is white chocolate thin Reese's cups.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've had those, but
Dark chocolate.
You should try it.
Try dark chocolate.
see, dark chocolate is my
The
favorite.
thin ones? Have you tried the thins?
No, I need to try
There's
those.
something about the
perfect.
thins.
They're perfect.
Yes.
Just the right amount of
Just the right
chocolate and the right amount of peanut
yes,
butter.
something about the
Yes.
thins.
Mhm.
So
I got
yeah,
you.
chocolate. I don't know. It's catching up with Snickers. Pretty good.
So, like future plans, you talked about your masters. What do you?
Got to graduate with my master's in July of this year,
Awesome.
but I'm going back to do a non-degree track through SAU again for my building level administration license.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll be done with that in, I think, July of next year. That's the plan at least. But, I'll have to get one more year in the classroom under my belt. But that is my plan.
Yeah. I never said I never thought I'd be a principal. I mean, I had gone, I was always wanted to be a teacher, just felt like that's where God was leading me. And my grandmother was a teacher. Of course, none of her kids, they were like, no, because she made them do bulletin boards all the time. It was like, they were like nightmares. But, I initially thought counselor. And so I had taken a couple of classes and I was like, I don't think this is for me, really. I don't know. And then I ended up getting into administration and had to end up counseling kids anyway sometimes. But I don't know. I was very quiet in school. I always tell people it's a God thing because I never thought I would be a principal. So I enjoyed, every minute. And that's the thing. You hope that you can just make a difference with kids. And even being here at the co-op, I feel like you can impact behind the scenes,
Right.
which hopefully if I can impact other people and that trickles down to teachers and kids, then.
That is so crazy that you started with counseling because I did the same thing.
I
took 2 semesters worth of counseling, grad school counselor, because I graduated with the underdegree in psych. So I was like, I can do this.
No, that was me.
No.
I said, I don't think this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
No.
And so I had an instructor our professor was like, well, why don't you try administration? I'm like, administration? I'm like, I never want to be a principal. And so I got in it and loved it. I mean, I loved it. And it was just, it's rewarding as well.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I think that's where I eventually want to land. But I thought that for a while. I don't know. I love the classroom and I love the relationships you get to build in the classroom.
Yes.
But I have a really awesome principal at my school, and I've seen her do some really cool things above just the kiddos.
Yep.
She's built like a super positive culture in our
That's
school.
awesome.
And I think that's something education needs.
Yes.
I think it's something that at the administrative level kind of lacks as we lose focus on our team, and we
Right.
focus too much on, maybe not too much, but we forget to focus
Yeah.
when we're focused.
And that's awesome that you have a fantastic one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
She's pretty
She's
good.
great. Yeah.
She
So, and you can learn from her, and that's really good.
Yeah,
and
so
take
she's
that.
actually been my, like, you know, you have to have a mentor through
Mm-hmm.
grad school for administration, and she's let me, you know, help plan some events, and got to do I got to lead a lot of PLC meetings, which is part of that lead teacher stuff, and that was scary.
Yeah.
But she's let me have some super awesome opportunities that I
That's
think
good.
will benefit me. And
Yeah,
the
that's
role.
awesome.
Great.
Yeah, it's hard to take that leap because, you know, I waited probably 7 years before I had taken an opportunity came up. I just feel like that was meant to be and where I was supposed to be. It's curriculum coordinator position, and I don't know if I wouldn't have taken that leap if I didn't have people behind me saying, you know, you can do it.
Right.
Just take the leap, and you know, and it was time, I guess. So
Yeah.
But I've loved everywhere I've been, and I love it here. So never thought I'd be hosting a stinking podcast. I mean, that is just like
he just let you hang in.
Oh, he did. Like
Do you think he's gonna watch this and laugh and enjoy every minute of it?
Yeah,
For sure.
And what I need to do is be like, I need to tell everybody. I need everybody that watches this to watch it like 10 times, so that I can be like, look how many views I have. And
Right.
then I don't need anybody to watch his that he did. So anyway, you know what they say about paybacks? It's coming for him.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you. I think it was very. He better be glad he called me, because I would have thought he was lying to me. But anyway, so we survived. I have totally. You got any questions for us before we kind of close it up?
I don't think so.
No, don't want to put us on the spot. That's good. Great. Got any more tea on your mom? You want to spill?
I should have came more prepared. I should have thought of something really good.
Yeah.
She'd probably really get on to me
Of
though.
course, she's probably watching, so you better be careful.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna get out here and just be like, why did you say that? You know she is. You know she is.
She probably will.
Hey, listen. Well, you've had a really good role model in her, and
Yeah, I have.
she's
Yeah.
like you said, made a difference with kids, and
Yeah.
that's what it's all about, is the kiddos. So,
Yeah.
well, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed today and getting to talk to you and visit, and I know Sandra has.
I really have.
Yeah.
You've been an awesome co-host.
Yes. And listen, Sandra, it's us.
You're
If
on
he-
the team now.
If he bells again,
Got you.
yeah, we're the team now. We're not even worried. We're not even worried, Darren, at all. So, all right. Well, if we don't have anything, I guess we'll kind of close out this episode, and we will see you soon.